There are several examples in our lives when we seem to be losing faith on the printed qualifications, degrees, and diplomas. There are doctors who cannot diagnose properly, engineers who make blunders, teachers who do not have the foggiest idea about what they are teaching. Plumbers and electricians come to your house for repair jobs and learn at your cost by damaging the costly equipments. Customer care staff in the call center routinely parrot out their script without listening to genuine grievances. In the state of Uttar Pradesh in North India, for the post of peons, several hundred PhD holders had applied, whereas the requirement for the job was a class 5th pass out. In the state of Bihar, we had many school teachers who could not spell simple words accurately. Mind you, all these professionals, if at all we call them as professionals, had some paper qualification of attending some courses and getting their degrees and diplomas and certificates. So, what is going wrong? Does possessing paper qualification hold any value today? Well, let me provide some thoughts in this direction. The very definition of being an educated person, having acquired a paper qualification, needs serious scrutiny. We all know that most of our education system is based on the premise that rote learning is the foundation of building our personality. Memorizing and repeating ad nauseum what is being repeated is unfortunately getting touted as learning. In due course of time, this pattern becomes a way of life and a tradition. We tend to blindly follow what others are doing without understanding the meaning or the import. In the Indian tradition of marriage ceremony or any other religious ceremony, the priest who is called to perform the function recites several hymns and mantras. I am quite sure none know the significance and meaning of what is being recited and for what. Yet, and this is important, yet everyone blindly imitates and follows. Why? The answer has to lie in our education system. Various researchers into the question of how do we learn has pointed out to the critical foundational base of critical thinking, innovative approach, and metacognition. These are known as non-cognitive skills or non-cognitive foundations. Cognitive learning is what we see on the surface, but the foundation for that is the presence of non-cognitive skills. Would you build a house without foundation? If you will, then it is bound to fall at the slightest jolt. The aim and objective of our education system ought to be to make the foundation of our non-cognitive skills strong so that the cognitive knowledge sits atop firmly. I would like to critically examine the role and importance of non-cognitive skills in the context of general education in particular and vocational education, in the context of vocational education in particular and and education in general. That is because we have a large population, over 65% of our youth, they are from rural areas and in dire need of some kind of vocational training that will help them in their sustenance. Firstly, let me address the question as to what specific non-cognitive skills need to form the bedrock of vocational training. In my view, these are critical thinking skill, problem solving skill, emotional health, social skill, empathy, collaboration, resilience, and grit. Controlling the temper or emotional balancing is also equally important. Have you not heard or witnessed cases in many factories where a small misunderstanding can trigger into violence resulting in arson. No wonder, when asked what kind of workers the employer would like to have, most reply that they prefer polite, disciplined, and above all emotionally stable worker than someone who is technically well trained but lacking in these non-cognitive traits. Let us take a small quiz to test our understanding. Is possessing intelligence a great predictor of our success in life? Is having fantastic technical skill a great predictor of our success in life? The answer to both is in the negative. While intelligence and technical skill does play a major part in shaping our life, more importantly, several non-cognitive factors, some of which I mentioned like resilience, grit, growth mindset, conscientiousness, self-efficacy, metacognition, they form the bedrock over which the cognitive faculties are nurtured and grow. Educational policy makers have to appreciate and understand the unique interdependence between these two elements. Cognition without non-cognitive backing is like a body without soul. Non-cognitive skills are developed before and throughout a child's school years, the formative years. The development of these skills is dependent on family and social characteristics and on school and teacher factors, particularly the instruction and social interactions that take place in the school. Multiple studies and researchers identifying the interdependence between cognitive and non-cognitive skills indicate that we may fail to boost cognitive skills unless we pay closer attention to non-cognitive skills. In other words, focusing on non-cognitive skills may actually further improve reading, writing, and mathematical and performance in numerical abilities such as mathematics proficiency. Since non-cognitive skills matter greatly and can be nurtured in schools, developing them should be an explicit goal of public education. This objective contrasts with the current, shall I say, overemphasis on cognitive aspects, which has not only displaced school support of non-cognitive development, but is also counterproductive in helping them improve cognitive skills. Most critically, it stands in the way of schools' nurturing of children's full development. While there is a strong correlation between non-cognitive skills and academic attainment, recent studies on entrepreneurship and interaction styles also conclusively prove its critical and seminal role in various facets of entrepreneurship. We have been involved in understanding entrepreneurship across several domains and in several geographies for quite some time. Our subjects varied across the globe. In our research, we have tried to find out what makes the entrepreneurship succeed, and the answer lied in the absence or presence of the non-cognitive elements. Those who had passion for work, a firm belief in their efforts, resilience, and a never say die attitude with a moral compass were more likely in the long run to succeed. Delaying the gratification and pursuing the long term goals rather than chasing the short term gain was also seen in successful entrepreneurs. Coming back to the youth pursuing vocational training, the uppermost skill that needs to be nurtured is the group of skills called social skills. What are these skills? Many experts in the vocational policy domain have done irreparable damage to these social skills by terming them as soft skills. The very term soft denotes something which is not so important and can be taught by any Tom, Harry and Dick. In addition, the so-called soft skills instructor usually talks about some elementary topics like communication, importance of listening, and so on. Many technical instructors assume that they can also teach soft skills. To understand and influence the mind of the youth, one needs to go beyond and behind the obvious. In my understanding, the critical social skills that ought to be emphasized in vocational educational stream are empathy, cooperation and sharing, self-regulation, respect and dignity of labor, and a healthy locus of control. Having worked in several manufacturing facilities that employ labor force in thousands, I have often witnessed how a minor difference of opinion, a small misunderstanding, a small rumor can virtually transform the workers into a riotous mob and the factory goes up in flames. The rational worker morphs into a rampaging mobster. The reason for such occurrence squarely lies in the non-development of social skills during the vocational training. So, what's the way forward? Non-cognitive skills matter because they correlate with the civic and democratic participation. They also matter because they correspond to what employers look for, and there is some evidence that they correlate with higher productivity and earnings and wealth creation for all. Non-cognitive skills correlate as well with academic performance. We also know that non-cognitive skills are developed in the school years and that their development is dependent on family and societal characteristics and also on school and teacher factors, that they are affected by the instruction and social interaction that takes place in the school. Since non-cognitive skills matter and can be nurtured in schools, developing them should be an explicit goal for public education. And this is the point that I have tried to emphasize in this presentation. Thank you very much.